Okay, we are live. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of This is Tech Talks. And today we have a really special guest, Vidya, joining us. So I know Vidya from Twitter, and she has been doing a lot. I mean, you may know her about from her newsletter, which she writes every week, and so, with some amazing contents. And welcome Vidya for joining, and thanks a lot for joining us.
No problem. I'm so glad to be here. I think the first time I know Santosh was through Google developers. When we had this pandemic situation, it was completely virtual. So that's when I heard Santosh talk, and that's when I followed him. So that's how I first came to know about the whole developers being on Twitter and having a community for them. So yeah, great to be here to talk about no code and low code.
Thank you. And we also have our co-host Ajit with us. Hey Ajit, how are you?
Hi, I'm great. Yeah,
Cool. So Vidya, would you like to introduce yourself before we move ahead?
Sure, yeah. So, I'm Vidya, obviously, you know that. So, I was into data scientist as a profession, but then I had to take a break when we started the 2021 year. So, I just wanted to explore my more interests into writing and also curating. So, that's when I came to this newsletter group on Twitter, and that's how I started my the Curious Bunch newsletter. In eventually, I also stumbled into no code and low code community and the whole built-in public community. So yeah, I started exploring the no code when I wanted to create a landing page for my own newsletter, and I did that through a platform called Card. So it's pretty easy, and it actually has everything which I needed, unlike what WordPress does. So WordPress is usually for mostly for bloggers and people who can tinker with the code a lot. But for someone like me who just wants to have a simple single page landing page without doing any coding, Card proved to be really useful. So yeah, that's how I got into no code, and right now I'm working with Swapstack, which is into connecting brands and newsletters for relevant sponsorships. And I think you would be interested to know that Swapstack is completely built on Bubble. It's a no code and low code platform, but I think the proper word for it is like visual building platform, because even though it doesn't have any code as of such, but we do use very high logic that's almost very close to the coding thing. So I think the correct term for is visual building or low code platform instead of completely no code platform. So yeah, that's about me in short.
Vidya, so we talked about low code platforms you are using. So can you just dive a little bit deep into how actually low code platform and no code platforms got created, and a little bit history about it?
Yeah. So when I started no code, I didn't even know that actually these kind of platforms exist for non-developers. So I guess the first problem which these people wanted to solve was to make it easier for any non-developers or non-tech people to get started into building something that can actually uh, earn from. So for example, if I want to build an app as a founder, I definitely have to have a co-founder or someone I can hire and who also has technical knowledge. So as a founder, if I don't have a technical knowledge, it's definitely going to be I have to definitely spend some money on these people and then make the product come live and start earning from that product. So I guess that's how no code platforms have become popular, because of the non developers or non tech people who wants to create products and then eventually want to earn from these platforms.
Oh, nice. So, any earlier platforms which were created, you remember?
I think before coming into this community of no code and low code developers, I guess the only no code platform I knew was WordPress. It was just, I mean, anyone can create a blog on their own if they know code. I mean, if they already know how to code a blogging platform, but if they don't know how to code, I guess the WordPress was their first choice, and that was the first website I knew before I got into the whole Bubble, Webflow, and Card kind of websites.
Nice. So Lars is here. Hey Lars, how are you?
Hey,
Hi,
So,
hello Vidya.
hello.
Yeah. So we just spoke a little bit about the history of low code platforms, right, Lars? So yeah. Uh, Another question, which is like I am sure if you are involved in low code and no code platforms, you may be getting this question a lot. Are they here to replace developers?
Yeah, that's a great question, and people are going to always ask about that question. But I don't think the objective, or the goal of no code platforms is to replace coders, but it's just to make the job easier for every developer and for every non-tech person, so that whatever the repetitive process are involved in building a website or building a product is reduced. I mean, the friction is reduced with these platforms. I think that's the goal with the no code platforms. But when it comes to are we really going to replace coders? I don't think so, because right now, if people have um, access to these kind of platforms, the coders can actually concentrate on different important problems, instead of doing the same repetitive task like building a landing page that just has like 4 5 components which are always the same thing. It just depends on how you want to design it and how you want to make it more personalized for yourself. So in that case, you can use something like Card, where the design takes the top priority than how you want to code your own landing page. So yeah, that's what I think about when it comes to replacing developers with no code platforms. Do you,
so so can
yeah.
you tell us about which are the most powerful what is the most powerful thing that a no code or a low code platform can do?
I guess the most powerful thing are two things which I can think of right now. The first one is to build a SaaS app, software as a service app, which I think platforms like Bubble do. And the second one is I actually wanted, I don't know there if there are any more. Popular websites like Bubble can make sure that this is possible. But the one thing I notice is that many platforms don't immediately make it available to create Chrome extensions. So I think Chrome extensions are really popular because I use a lot of extensions to get things done. And I haven't seen many platforms, like especially Bubble, they don't have any plan to create a Chrome extension using their platform. But just yesterday, I got the update from the Bubble saying that there's a new plugin available in Bubble, where you can actually build a Chrome extension and deploy it using no code. So I think those are the two powerful things I can think of right now.
So is there something in mobile apps like this, or
Yes.
only websites are available?
Yes, we definitely have mobile apps. Right now, what comes to my mind is Glide apps and also Adalo. Adalo is really powerful because it has all the structure, all the features you want to design every screen on your mobile, and how you want the onboarding process to go from one step to the final step. So I think Adalo is one of the most powerful mobile no code platforms out there. You can also use Bubble for this case, but I don't think they natively support that kind of feature for mobile platforms.
What about you, Ajit and Lars? Have you used any low code platforms in past? I remember. I think I have used few. I don't remember the names, but yeah. What about you?
Yeah, I was just
Yeah.
looking at this bubble, and it reminds me of Microsoft Power Apps. I just posted a link in the private chat, which has kind of the same approach of no code or low code, but you can build really powerful
Stuff.
integration, simple mobile apps integrating with your whatever data source you have, and streaming it out to Power BI and all of that. So there's a whole Power platform by Microsoft now, and Power Apps is part of that. So that's what I can relate to, I guess.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, I think Power Apps is one of the first ones to get into low code.
Oh, okay. So,
Yeah.
what about you, Ajit?
So WordPress, Card, like I have
Uh-huh.
used, like when the Vidya was talking about Card. I tried to use it, but like as a developer, you just get used to customization. Like I can do anything. Like it will take me 15 minutes, so why not
Yeah,
build?
I can
So,
totally
but
relate.
yeah, so you like it, but when you even see one slight change that you can do really easily and you can't do it, you feel like, oh no, like let me do it myself. You know it's gonna take more time, but still you can't resist.
Yeah, no doubt. Engineers love to actually over-engineer. So,
Yeah.
It will only
but
take a minute. I just have to change this one thing, right?
yeah,
And it's
and then
never a minute.
5 days later.
yeah. So Mike also mentioned Airtable. Yeah, Airtable is nice. I've been using it.
Yeah, it's like uh, uh, one of the best versions of Google Sheets.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but it has all marketing entangled in it. Like
yeah,
there are a lot of
templates,
things.
marketing, a
Yeah.
lot of things. Yes. And we can they also have this automations feature. I don't know
Yeah.
when they released it, but when I first joined I didn't know that it was there, but it's one of the most helpful things.
Yeah. And you can even build whole websites in Airtable. Like, yeah, I was really impressed with that.
Awesome. I didn't know
Okay, I
that.
just
I knew that we can deploy forms, collecting things and automating it as soon as someone submits it, but I didn't know about websites.
Yeah,
uh,
there are some plugins. People have built a lot of things over Airtable by which you can build websites too. And the
Oh,
forms
yeah.
thing,
Like
re-
software, using software and then
yeah,
deploying it on deploying the database on software. Yeah, I have used it. Yeah, that's definitely useful.
and I just use it for data entry.
We can use Google Sheets too for that.
yeah. My brother used it to manage marketing in Twitter and in Facebook. You can like put time and date on which you wanna put certain tweets or posts. So that really also helps.
I do
Okay,
the
that
same
that
thing with Swapstack. Yeah, please continue. Sorry.
no, no. I was just asking. I mean, that is that the part of automation which you
Yeah,
mentioned?
Yeah, yeah,
I
Okay.
think it's part of the automation because I do the same thing with Swapstack.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever there is a new advertiser joining Swapstack, they
Mm-hmm.
join through their profile, and the data gets updated on Airtable, and Airtable triggers an event. So where the tweet is automatically posted on our Swapstack profile. So whenever a new advertiser joins, the tweet automatically gets posted. And if somebody wants to pitch the writer, they can use the link to pitch the writer.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, what about some of your favorite tools with them? I know I have seen your newsletter. You have been mentioning a lot of them. So, if you have to like select your top three.
I think top three would be the first one would be card because that's a very simple tool to start with, and also a simple tool for me when I started, so that I can create landing pages and then also use it to what do you call, to prove whatever idea I'm putting on the landing page is actually worth pursuing. So I guess these kind of simple tools actually validate your idea and then make sure you take the next step before actually getting into code or low code. So that's one thing. And the second one is Softer, because it has a lot of free features, which I think any no coder wants to start with. And I certainly acknowledge that no code platforms are really costly to start with or experiment with. So that's where Softer shines. It has a lot of free features which anyone can start and deploy. All you have to have is, if you want to, deploy it on your own website instead of subdomain. I think that's the only purchase you would need in case of Softer. And probably the next one is Bubble, like everyone else, because it has all the features to make a SaaS app and deploy it and start earning money from. And Swapstack is built on Bubble, where creators, newsletter creators, have actually earned over $200,000 since January 2021. So that's one of the things my is what I like. And the other one would be Glide. So yeah, these are the four apps I really love and use.
I have heard a lot about Zapier too. So, what do you think about Zapier? Like,
Oh yeah, Zapier has one of the is one was one of the first automation platforms I have tried to use. It has the one thing I like about Zapier is the number of apps it can connect with easily, and even if you know a little bit of code, you can actually make use Zapier a lot. So I guess, yeah, Zapier would be the first choice for anyone who's getting into automation but don't want to code a lot. And I think the second alternative to Zapier is Integromat. Personally, I choose Integromat because of their onboarding process and the ease of use, and also the number of free features they offer before going as a paid customer if you are into automating stuff without coding. Yeah. So, did you use Zapier anytime? Any one of you, Zapier or Integromat or any other low code platform for automation?
I used it for some email automation, uh,
Mhm.
like sending emails here and there. But it
Have you,
only ha-
yeah, have
it
you liked it, or did you again go back to coding?
Yeah, like for automation, I will definitely go to Zapier because you have to like understand a lot of APIs
Hmm.
to integrate it. Like you have to understand five APIs. Like understanding five APIs is in itself a huge task. Then you have to integrate them, then deploy them somewhere. Like Zapier gives you five pods for free. Like use it.
Then you should definitely try Integromat, and I think you will love it.
Yeah,
And
Santosh, have
whenever
you
I
used?
see,
sure.
I mean, I whenever I see these platforms, I think like let's build it by my own, and then after a month, I realize I don't have time, so I just do that.
Yeah, that's one of the problems with developers. They want to start, but a lot of things to start, ideas to start with.
Yeah, I mean, we love to waste time, right?
But yeah, I think developers definitely would love some kind of easy tool for automation, because, like Ajit pointed out, a lot of APIs to understand and work with. I'm a noob when it comes to API, so I don't. I mean, I didn't have enough time to go through what API is and how to make sure one app interacts with the other app. But at this times, I think these tools really come in handy and help me with my work.
Yeah, what about you, Las? You didn't
Yeah,
answer.
yeah. You were discussing things like building landing pages before, and a few things that come to mind for that is something like Squarespace and Wix. Have you ever tried those?
Mhm. Oh yeah, I have known Squarespace, and I have seen my friends using Wix, but I did not try it on my own. But yes, these are the alternatives to WordPress, more than low code and no code. But yeah, I think they definitely do come under no code when it comes to building websites.
And that, yeah, that's basically no code. Um, for low code, what about GitHub Workflows? They're becoming more and more powerful. They're really an alternative to Zapier at this point, but of course not with as many, maybe not as many built-in integrations, although we have 10,000 actions at this point. So it's more of a low-code approach. If you can find the action, or you can build it yourself, right? Then you can set up an event-triggered workflow to automate most things, really. Like there's the actions flow package with a lot of actions for triggering, for example, calling a web API, or based on email or Google Forms, or based on something that happens on Instagram or Twitter or YouTube, whatever. Typeform, Telegram, GraphQL, any JavaScript script, the weather, an RSS feed, the webhooks, all of these good things you can use to trigger a workflow on GitHub. That's pretty powerful.
Amazing. I haven't realized GitHub has developed a lot. I guess this was after Microsoft acquired GitHub. Is that true?
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like I have the impression there's a big team working on GitHub Actions and workflow all the time, because so much is happening all the time, and it's really become a very powerful platform, because it's a good CI/CD system, but really it's an event-based system, so any event can trigger a workflow, or running on a schedule or manually, whatever.
Awesome. Yeah, I guess I have to experiment with GitHub Workflows. Definitely excited to learn all these developments happening in GitHub right now.
Yeah, and it's one of the fastest workflows I have seen.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah. I
awesome.
have used GitLab and AWS code pipelines too. So compared to them, like GitHub Actions is really really fast. Like I think they cache a lot because it's used a lot, but and because AWS and GitLab are independent, so they can't cache another person's cache. You can use another person cache in another person's code, but because GitHub uses mostly GitHub whenever they use open source repositories, they can share code around. I think that's why it's really really fast.
Awesome. Yeah, great to know so many developments happening in low code platforms.
So let's take up some questions. So Deep has this question: if I want to make app more custom, can we export source code from some no code or low code tools? Anything you're aware of?
Yeah, there are platforms. I don't. Yeah, one platform I can think of right now is DraftBit. What it does is we can definitely design all the apps using no code, and they also have a paid option where they can export the code, the mobile app code, and you can deploy it anywhere you want once you get the code. But it's, of course, many of these platforms have a paid option to export your own code, and I think this is also available on Webflow. So if you are building landing pages or static websites, you can definitely export your code and deploy it on your own. Yeah, and when it comes to other platforms, I don't like Bubble. I don't think they provide the option, because obviously once you get out of the platform, you won't be coming back if you know the code, and if you can afford hiring engineers and everything. So I guess that's one of the reasons why many no code platforms don't allow you to export the code. But yes, there are few like DraftBit and Webflow.
If I'm not wrong, native script is something which also has this kind of functionality in case you are building native apps. So that they also do it. Okay, let's move to another question. Vijay, have you integrated any components library into any of these low code platforms?
Any
I mean, he is probably asking any component library for maybe Bootstrap, or you have integrated any React frameworks or something.
No, I haven't, but my colleague Jake Singer,
Mhm.
who manages the SwapStack platform, I think he has worked something with code, integrating the code components inside Bubble itself. Yeah,
Huh.
we can do that.
Yeah, some Figma plugins allow you to export uh, React, Angular, Svelte, or any other components.
Oh, nice. So I think Jitendra has a really good question. Why should we pay attention to low-code platforms?
Yeah, I guess this we discussed in the initial
Yeah.
video of this video.
Yeah.
So yeah, one of the reasons why we should pay attention to low code platforms is to make our life easier, to not repeat ourselves whenever we have building landing pages or apps or simple apps like database. If you want to just make go public and want to get it done in a day or two just to test your ideas, I think that's when we can use no code and low code platforms, because when it comes to founders, they want to go full out on their app, but they might not have as much money as they want to test it out. So that's where I think these kind of platforms really help, so that to validate the idea, to get that product market fit, and to make sure they convince the VCs and everything. Yeah, so I guess that's why I think these platforms are really going to be useful. And I think once we generate some kind of income, that idea becomes reality. And of course, if you want to customize it even more, and if you know code, or can hire an engineer, you can obviously start from scratch and then take it from there.
So, Vidya, coming back to the questions which we have. So, how to get involved into low-code and no-code platforms or the community in case there is.
I guess there are many communities, free communities to join, like no code. I mean, once if you just type on Twitter or on Google, no code communities, I think I'm definitely sure that you will come across a lot of links to join. Some are paid and some are not paid. Some are absolutely free. And there's one community I think would be really useful. That is 100daysofnocode.com. It's managed by one of my friends. I think that anyone can start from there, and they have a really useful resources, free resources to start with. And they also conduct free events and paid events too, for you to join and learn from other experts who are already into these no code platforms and who are already experts in these fields. And recently have realized that many platforms like Software and Adalo are starting their own communities where they introduce experts of their platforms to their users. So if you just join these platforms and try to tinker it with, and if you follow their Twitter profiles, I'm sure you'll get into this whole no code community. Yep, that one.
Okay. Any open source no-code platforms, Vidya, which you want to
Yeah.
highlight here?
Yeah, I think the one which I tried to work with but couldn't because I didn't have much time was the N8N.io. I don't know how to pronounce this. I'll just put it in the private chat.
I saw this recently. I think someone shared, and probably it might be you, but yeah.
Yeah, so this one, yes. And this is one of the open source platforms I know, which is into no code. It's just like Zapier and Integromat, where you can do workflow automations. And others, I think, this is one of the platforms which not many are aware of, is Tesla imaging Monk V1. So before I got into this whole no code and low code platforms, I was working with one of the open source contributors I know on Tesslate imaging. So they were into this deep learning tools and using computer vision tools to make sure others who are like very beginner who are into computer vision, who wants to get started in AI and deep learning and computer vision. These tools are really useful for them. So if you know how to tinker the code with, I think you can definitely start using these platforms, open source platforms, and contribute to them if you have some time.
So I
And
think Alex, yeah. Sorry, go ahead with that.
I think another one is Buddy Base. I think this is also one of the alternatives to software. Software is basically used by companies who want to build internal tools. So Buddy Base also does the same thing. You can. It's also open source. So I think yeah, you can definitely contribute to these platforms.
I think Alex, you had the same question. We shared several platforms. They are all open source. You can go to the code base and see how it is done, and then create your own. I think that will be really helpful to to the community in case you have something amazing in your mind.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think open source low code platforms is the future from what I've heard from LAS as well, because GitHub Workflows is being really active.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, recently, I came across this builders.io. I'm sure Lars and Ajit knows about it. Did you saw that builders.io? It's builder.io. Sorry.
Me,
So
haven't actually, but let me check.
it's a really nice platform, and I'm really excited about it because, of course, it supports all the frameworks and libraries which we have used in past, and it also offers a lot of connections to the API, so you can actually get the data and can just drag drop and then create your websites. It's really nice, and of course, the team behind is really amazing, and the creator of Angular joined recently, and then creator of Ionic framework also joined. So both great minds, I think, building a platform. So give it a try. I mean, in case you are looking for another low code platform, it's amazing.
Yeah, amazing. I'm just going through their website. Looks like they have a lot of integrations,
Yeah.
hosting platforms, and front end code. Yeah, definitely. I'm going to try this.
So with the last question, not related to anything no code or low code, but how was your transition from data science to coming into something where you don't have to write any code? Because if I remember, in data science you have to play with queries entire day. That's what you do, right?
Yes, when I was into data science, one of my core things was into computer vision and deep learning. Um, so yeah, that's when I started learning about Monk Way 1 and how it has eventually started making tools for low coders to play with computer vision, and eventually I found other cloud-based computer vision platforms like Cloud has its own computer vision tools where anyone who is interested in can just upload pictures and then build your own model for that. And I think Microsoft also has one of its own. I forgot the name, but yeah, they definitely do have one. And you can also deploy a mobile app using their Microsoft computer vision tool. That's when I started understanding how these tools work, and when I eventually felt like I needed a break from my job, I gave myself freedom to explore these platforms. So that was the transition, and that's how I started. And eventually, when I got into no code, I found myself having a lot of ideas to explore, and I found myself wanting to help with marketing and in growth experiments. And so I eventually transitioned from being a scientist to an analyst. So yeah, that's what I do at Swapstack right now: analyze data and do growth experiments and build internal tools for our team. So yeah.
Yeah. So is there anything you want to ask Ajit last?
No,
Well, I think it's interesting because as developers, we're not really being paid to like write software. I consider that we're being paid to solve problems using software, but we don't. Who says we have to write all the code ourselves? I mean, that's why we use things like frameworks and libraries, so or machine learning or whatever gets the job done. So low code, no code. That's a viable approach as well. I mean, it can get you very far with little effort.
Yeah, that's a very good point because, like developers solve problems, I think there is a new profession which is coming forward right now, which is no code developer. They also do solve problems, but without using code, and obviously the deployment process is much faster because they just have to do the prototyping and deploy it. Yeah.
So I think we don't have any questions anymore from the chat as well. So thanks a lot, Vidya, for joining us and sharing about low code and no code platforms. And hope to see you again in future on the show.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I had fun chatting with all of you and answering all your questions. In case you have any more questions, or if you want to connect with other no coders who are more interested and who has done a lot of projects more than me, I'm happy to connect you with them. So if you have any questions, just DM me on my profile. I'm happy to do that.
Yeah, sure. You can always reach out to Vidya on Learn with Vidya. I think our Twitter handle is in the video description. You can find it and feel free to DM as she said.
Yeah.
So, that's it for the day. Thanks a lot, Ajit. Thanks a lot, Lars, for joining us. And we will come again next week. And next week we are talking about Angular forms. I am sure Lars and Ajit both will be interested because Angular is always a great topic for us, right, to discuss about. So, uh, a developer from Greece, he will be joining us. So he recently brought a book on Angular forms. So he'll be talking a little bit about his book as well, and then we'll go through some topics about Angular forms. So see you same time next Friday, 10 p.m. IST. Yeah. See you. Bye bye, everyone.